Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man! At your services. How are you all? I think we're doing very, very well. And today's theme for our latex lunacy, it's Richter's grins. That smile from beyond the grave. Mouldy old molars. Yeah, we've got Creepshow Nate from Creepshow, the Father's Day segment. We've got Lon Chaney Sr. in that Lost movie, London After Midnight. Look at that. And we've got Jack Goodman from American Werewolf in London. And that's his appearance when he's sitting there in the porno theatre in Piccadilly Circus, trying to explain to his best mate, "You're a wolf man, you're a werewolf, you're going to kill more people, you've got to kill yourself," whilst they're watching a girl with big bazoomies bouncing about on the big screen. Anyway. Folks, this little video is to say I'm about to go and see the new Candyman movie. Candyman 2021. Yeah. And it's kind of weird because everybody and their dog has been telling me, "Don't do it, Kilt-Man, don't go." It's been out for a week already, maybe even longer. And I wasn't interested. I am a big fan of Bernard Rose's 1992 classic with Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd. Helen. And all that. I think it's great. I've discussed it before, and I have written copiously about it on other mediums, other platforms, and I think it's a great movie. It's not. I think it's overpraised. I'll be perfectly honest about that. But I think its ideas, its themes, its elegance, its cinematography and its atmosphere are just fantastic. It's urban gothic, which is wonderful. And I love Barker's original short story, The Forbidden. And I love the whole idea of folklore, urban legend, mythology creating entities and needing succor, needing to be talked about, rumours to be spread, deeds to be done to give this spiritual entity more strength, because without being talked about is nothing. And I love all that. And I love Philip Glass's score as well. This, again, it's elegant minimalism. There's power there. It's a small ensemble, but there's definite resonance and power to it, and this haunting, bewitching quality. So, with all that in mind, and having watched Candyman, the original, last night, just to get myself in the mood, as I say, we're playing the soundtrack right now, why do I want to go and see this movie which everybody seems to hate? There's a few critics who've lauded it, this new version, but most people, and many people whose opinions I massively trust, people I know personally, said, "Don't bother, it's fucking garbage, it's boring, it's shit, nothing happens, or whatever happens, you've seen it coming a mile away." Well, I can tell you right now that I know the entire plot of this movie, this new version. I know exactly where it goes, I know exactly what it does, what it doesn't do, and I know how it ends. So why bother going to see it then, Kilt-Man? That doesn't make any sense. Well, there's two reasons. One, again, and they're both reasons which are what elevate the original movie. The cinematography in this version is meant to be incredible as well, and the music in the new version, people are going to go like, "Well, that's a hard act to follow, Philip Glass." Well, is it? I play music all the time, and I play horror music more than anything else, and weird soundscapes, tonal textures, and weird sort of all abstract horror kind of soundtracks. And since the film came out, I've actually had the soundtrack to the new version, and I thought, I want to see how they compete with Philip Glass. And as far as I'm concerned, they do better. Yeah, you heard that. I said that. This new soundtrack, to my ears, is better than what you're hearing right now, which is great in its own right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you a little bit of it, and hopefully we get away with it. Hopefully we don't get slammed on by those pesky licensee copyright holders. Let's go on to and it's by a guy called Robert Akey Aubrey Lowe. and he is an experimentalist with electronica, and he has created a really unnerving and lengthy score, which is oscillations, voices, vocalizations, utterings, whisperings, all sorts of weird stuff, sounds, samples, you name it. If you listen here, there's oscillations taking place here. And if I shut up for a second and let you hear it, there's elements of this score which remind me a lot of one of my favourite, most avant-garde experimental scores ever, which is from Lewis and B.B. Barron, the pioneers of electronica for Forbidden Planet. This plays out to my ears like a much more horrifying, unnerving version of Forbidden Planet. There's other bits in it as well, but I think it's fantastic, and it's really sort of unhinged me. So I want to see this film because of the cinematography, and I want to see how well the music plays with what you see on screen, whether it does create an ambience and atmosphere all of its own. Because everyone else who said, oh, the plus points are it looks great and it sounds pretty good as well, but the rest of it's shit. But this guy wants to find out for himself. As I say, I wasn't initially that bothered about any more Candyman movies. I say I love Candyman, but again, what intrigued me about this, beyond the sound and the visual qualities, which I've heard are great, is that the expansion of the mythology. I like the idea of where this is going and what it does and who it brings back, should I say, and no spoilers here, because the idea is this is me setting my stall out. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm intrigued enough to go and watch it, despite all the evidence to the contrary, and so I'll do another video afterwards, and folks, it will be spoiler rife. It's bound to be, and I'll tell you why that'll be, because I'm bound to have a whiskey on the way down to the cinema. I'm bound to drink whiskey whilst I'm in the cinema watching the movie, and then when I come back, you're way ahead of me, aren't you? Yeah, I'll have more whiskey. So that will, my mouth will be loose and flapping. I'll be a useless flapjaw, giving all and sundry away about the plot and details and who dies, who doesn't, who might become the new Candyman. Already, Kilt-Man, you're spoiling it. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's basically it. This new film is directed by, Nia Da Costa, and it stars Yahya Abdul Mateen II. And he was the guy that played Manta in Aquaman. And I like him. I think he's good. And I've seen the trailer numerous times. I've seen reviews of the movie on YouTube. I've seen lots and lots of clips. And I know what they're talking about. I know I'm going in with massively lowered expectations. Or should I say different expectations than most people went in there with, who wanted, Candyman with his hook, he's going to slice people up. Oh, yeah. We're going to get more of that. But they get an arty-farty and apparently very woke version. Now, before I do the full warts and all review, I will say this as well. This film was meant to come out before the pandemic, before COVID and last year, and cinemas closed and all that. So even though this film has massive elements of racial tension and oppression, horrible white police officers doing horrible things to black people, and there's been a bit of an outcry saying, oh, it's too soon. How could you ever be too soon after events like that? Too soon. And it's just taking all that. Well, it isn't taking it, because it was written before those events happened. The Black Lives Matter movement and all that. So it just happens to have coincided. The fact that it would have been out before all of those events took place, George Floyd and all that. It would have come out before all of that. So it would have been right on the cusp of it all. Now, because of the delays, it's come out, and now people are going, oh, you're just cashing in on all that, and it's wrong. And it's too woke. I've heard all this. I'm going to go in with, my own, set of expectations. And I now know roughly what it does, and I know what it doesn't do. So I'll give you probably, hopefully, a more sort of, I don't know, a more considered opinion and review. I might come out and say, oh, it is a turd. Everyone was right. It is. Yeah, it looks. It's a shiny turd that sounds great, but a turd it is nonetheless. And that might be the case. And if it is, then egg on my face. But at least I'm going to give it a shot. The last film I saw at the cinema was Wonder Woman 84 back in December 2020. Yeah, and I utterly hated that movie. Hated it. And so much so that it's put me off one of my favourite DC characters, Wonder Woman, forever. It has. I will not watch another Wonder Woman movie ever again. No interest at all. And you go, Kilt-Man, you like that? I do like it. I do like it. I'll put another bit more on. Let's go into, because I like abstract sound textures. Things like Christoph Penderecki and Wendy Carlos, who would do stuff like The Shining, and Joe LaDuca, who his soundtrack for Brotherhood of the Wolf. There's elements of this which remind me of that quite a bit, the guttural vocalizations, and lots of weird, abstract, bizarre, avant-garde, experimental horror scores, altered states and sound textures. Christopher Young and his score for Invaders from Mars, which is just music concrete, and it's completely way out and bizarre. If you ever get to hear the full score, which I've got. So I love stuff like this. It does take you out of reality, and for a film like this where there's mirror play, there's puppetry, there's an entity that lives within the fabric of folklore, and he's made real by people believing in him and talking about him and deeds being done. That's how it's conjured up. I love that. It's so completely otherworldly. It's taking mythology, folklore, urban myth and legend, and from within that fabric of spoken tales and communications and nightmare stories, nursery rhymes, something tangible is being created. I love it. I love the concept of it. I think it's great. So I'm just hoping that I do get some value out of this movie. It's mad, isn't it? I love it. So many people in this house are avoiding this room now because I've been playing this all the time for the last few days. They're like, no, I'm not going in there. Nobody's playing that. No, I'm not going in there. And the fact that I've got things like this sitting here, and the fact that there's something like this sitting here as well. They're like, no, I'm not going in. Don't make me go in. No, I don't need any food. Honestly, I can survive for months without food. I don't want to go in there when Dad's in there. But being as I'm working from home and I work just there, I'm here all the time, except when I'm in the pub. So folks, anyway, Candyman 2021. And there's the thing about that as well. Don't you hate movies that they're sometimes reboots, sometimes remakes, sometimes reimaginings, sometimes sequels or prequels, and all they've done, they've kept the same fucking title as the original movie. I'm looking at The Thing. The Thing prequel was just called The Thing. Halloween 1978 was then the sequel from the new franchise. It's called Halloween again. Fucking hell. Candyman from 1992. And we get the sequel. It's called Candyman. I don't mind if you go, it's Candyman, and then you give it like a subtitle. Candyman, he's back again. Candyman, more sweets to the sweets. It's just something like that. And this film, we know, ignores the two official sequels that came out before. Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. Candyman, Day of the Dead. See, they did it right. Candyman and another title. So it separates them. But now this one, it's just Candyman again. I don't know. Can you imagine someone who gets a bit tongue-tied going, Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. What if you got it wrong? And you went, Mandy can, Mandy can, Handy can, surely can. What? What would he still appear if you said it wrong? What if you said it 6 times? Oh, you've still said it 5, the customary 5, but what if you said it 6 times? I don't know. Maybe this film addresses that. I don't know. Maybe that's an element I've not heard about. Anyway, folks, I have been and always shall be massively unhinged by music like this, and yeah, still smitten at the same time. So folks, I'll be back later with a full review of Candyman. So in the meantime, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. Be happy, y'all, and just be yourselves, and try and be extraordinary. I'm gonna see you all